Hello, so this is my marketing campaign that I decided to do Honolulu, Hawaii, which is located on the island of Oahu. So for this marketing campaign, I wanted to name it Taste of Aloha, which I think is fitting because it will go over so many different things with the island and will be a very good cultural experience for many people who live there. I'll present my marketing campaign for both food and beverages, and hopefully this campaign will be able to give showcase sustainable farm to table foods in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's hopefully going to be designed to showcase local farms, cultural foods, indigenous foods, and um, chef-made foods as well, or how to use local ingredients in chef-made foods and cuisine. And I'm going to talk today about tour design, marketing, stakeholders, sustainability, and economics and cultural impacts. I also want to give a huge thanks to Slide Carnivals for giving me this amazing template to present my marketing campaign. So I will try to spend at least a minute on each slide. I'm going to try to go through each slide fast because I can only present for 15 minutes total. Okay, so here we go. Let's go on to the first slide. And went too far. It's going to be venues. So of course our marketing campaign and our food tour is going to have a venue, and many of them hopefully. Um, the more venues, the better. But we want local venues and people in the local community to come out. So for the very first thing, we might set up a farmers market. This will allow guests to get to introduce themselves and meet local farmers, and maybe even be able to sample some of their farmers' produce. Some of these, like taro, for example. I think another one was, I think it's pronounced likio, which is a produce made into a dessert. Um, will allow people to get to introduce themselves and can provide demonstrations on cooking. It'll provide education about food insecurity and the importance of um, for of buying locally and how that sustains their economy. And the second step on the venues, I think, would be really good is to have a heritage farm kind of built in. So the reason it would be like a local farm, but the heritage farm would provide on showcasing heritage. It would showcase, it would be an educational experience for visitors because they can check out native plants, native crops, native, um, and some of these like pineapples, for example, are really well grown. It's not like maybe like a native plant, but um, sugarcane juice. You could get fresh sugarcane juice. It kind of just allows people to see um, what the farms are really like, and kind of gets them more introduced to them. So heritage farms are a great way of producing cultural experiences as well. But the last thing I want to highlight is local chefs. And so this would also have a heritage menu with locally sourced ingredients. Some of these um, I researched a little bit, and like house meu, local beef or fresh kaale, lalu stew. Um, all of these would be really great to allow like chefs to introduce foods to visitors, and also allow chefs to give talks on Hawaiian culinary culture and how they their opinions and thoughts on it. So maybe give a little speech about local chefs and their day-to-day functions. So let's talk about marketing and promotion. So this is basically the four P's of the marketing campaign. I'm gonna try to go through this a little bit fast because I spent a lot of time on that last slide. But basically, the first P is product. And so this will give, the product is really just a cultural food experience with tastings, farm visits, storytelling, speeches, and so the first thing would be price with a product. You're gonna have a price. Um, oh, actually, that's the second thing. Second thing would be price. So that's kind of our product. Our product is like the immersive food tour, and price. We would want to set this low, but high enough to where um, we can provide a great experience. I thought somewhere around um, $30 to $60 would be really good. And then maybe even including in the price benefits like donations to local um, schools or or um, or local initiatives, and that would give more value to going in as well, just because you're again supporting the community. So then the place, um, I would think like somewhere near in the middle of the city where people can gather, but also not too far away from local farms. So we want to try to find that balance between inner city where people don't have to travel very far, there's lots of open space, but also local farm. I would say maybe not in the middle of the city actually, but I think the correct place would be on the offset of the city. So it's like you have all these farms, and then you have this wide open space, and people can drive there. It's not too far, maybe even walk, which would be even better, and allow them to experience this. And then lastly, promotion. I think there's a few different ways we can promote. First, like social media, so like Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube, hashtags. Next thing, maybe different types of media like commercials, collabs on different promotion techniques. A press release would be good. Um, Anything like that. Maybe some kind of like online advertising. Um, any kind of media would be a really great thing to include. So we could have some media. I think social media is what we need to focus on, just to get, I think most people nowadays are on social media. And then we could also have local marketing as well. So we could have the Taste of Aloha um, scattered around the city, flyers at hotels, all of these things. So all of these are would be really great to have. Maybe even with these flyers, we have like QR codes leading to more information about the event. And I think um, we want to seem authentic because we don't want to trap um, we don't want tourists to feel like they are um, made to go, but they can go because they want to experience something. Um, we want to provide knowledge, and we want to provide something that's fun as well. We don't want to be overbearing, but we want to allow this experience like, oh, this seems really interesting. So that's how I feel like we should promote it through to use, particularly through social media, maybe different types of other types of media like blogs, press releases, and then maybe just local advertising as well through flyers and QR codes and that as well. So products, once again, that would be our food tour. It would tastings, farm, cultural, speeches, education, price, $30 to $60. And once again, place, most likely on the edge of the city, somewhere close enough to where you can walk in distancing to a local farm for an educational tour, maybe a heritage farm, for example, where you can check out local crops and also try out fresh local crops to enjoy to sampling, like sugarcane juice, for example. So those are the four P's, and that is how we will market and promote our Taste of Aloha. So let's talk about stakeholders. I listed a lot of stakeholders on here, and I don't think they have to use them all, but some of these I've also come across through other things I've done. So like the HTA, for example, the Hawaii Tourism Authority, it was a paper I wrote once. So I think they would be a really good stakeholder because the HTA has a lot to do with tourism. They want people to be culturally enriched when they come and tour Hawaii. Um, so included participating restaurants and chefs. So any kind of like chef that has like local um, cuisine or uses farm to table ingredients would 100% be invited to set up booth free of charge. Just come on out and they can and they can present and get as many of those types of chefs out there so people can lay their eyes on them. Local farmers would be so incredible to have out there as well, so they can share their stories and share their perspectives. And also just local farmer markets. Those may not exist here where we are in Kentucky as common, but in Hawaii, local farm markets are very common. And so having a lot of those come out and even selling foods would be tremendous. Those would be a tremendous stakeholder. Community organizations. I listed one on the Malami, Hawaii. And I think this in particular, it's a cultural accuracy group, and they focus on sustainable practices and volunteer opportunities. I did a little bit of research on them, and I think they would be an incredible stakeholder as well if we could get them, but also just other community organizations to show up as well and participate. Um, Local transportation. We could provide shuttles um, between maybe even the farm um, and the vendors. So this could be an incredible thing to have. And I think local transportations, if we could get them on board with this and covered with the cost of coming into this event, they could be a great stakeholder as well. Hotels and resorts would be a stakeholder because if this is a big event, people are going to want to be coming, and hotels sell rooms to people and receive profit from that. And visitors and both consumers are going to be contributing as well, and they're a stakeholder in this because they will be paying for it, and they're expecting something that will hopefully blow them away with all the education and events and speeches and everything that would be going on. So let's talk about the social and cultural factors. So the tour, I listed six here. I think cultural preservation, cultural appreciation, community pride, visitor education, and social connections. I'm going to talk about these a little bit more as well. So cultural preservation, I think this would help because it reinforces the Hawaiian food knowledge and traditions, maybe even practices that if they're not preserved and not talked about and not openly shared with locals and visitors, then these things can be lost in time, just like how the Hawaiian language is almost fading away. And these are things, all things we want to preserve. Cultural appreciation. We want to have, I think the event will be very respectful and it'll understand the Hawaiian identity. We don't want to do appropriation in this case. We want to focus on appreciation, not appropriation. We don't want to do anything like that, which I don't think this event would have any kind of cultural appropriation tied into it. We want to focus on just celebration. Community pride. So for this, like local chefs and farmers, they now get to be known by the community. People get to come out and be proud of Hawaiian dishes, be proud of local farmers, be proud of local food markets for what they do and how they serve people. Visitor education, tourists and locals can learn through stories, through speeches, even through meeting local farmers. It can be a very, very educational experience for anyone who visits the marketing campaign Taste of Aloha. And lastly, social connections. So this can be, of course, like people just coming out and meeting each other, talking, getting to meet local people in the community who provide food. We could also set up, I thought would be a great idea, long tables where people can sit together, talk, eat together, share stories, and talk about tradition. Talk about their heritage, talk about their culture, how these foods have shaped them. And I think this can only deepen the social connections within that area. And I'm going to pause the presentation here and resume once I restart it up so I don't go over the time limit. But thank you. I'll be right back. And we're back. So this is my second recording to complete the presentation. And I will stitch these two together, and so let's get back into it. Um, Next slide, economic factors. Um, so what will this food presentation present? Um, there's many different economic factors that go into this, but I think the most important is that it's going to create income to local farmers, vendors, and restaurants. This is so important because people will be exposed to local farms, understand the importance of them, and then they will be more frequent to buy from local vendors, be more frequent to buy from local farmers, be more frequent to buy from local chefs. And this will create so much more economy for Hawaii and stop um, um, outsourcing money to corporations which don't serve Hawaii. So it'll also create new jobs. So some of these I listed was we could have local guides who show people around the farms, drivers. So if we do have a shuttle system, maybe we could have some drivers or people working transit so that we can get people in and out of farm area, like the Heritage Farm, for example, that we would hope to have as well connected to it. And photographers would also be another great one. Maybe hire at least like maybe 10, 15, 15 photographers because this is a very memorable time. This is where the whole community and also visitors are coming together. And also culinary workers are going to benefit from this as well because um, it'll also create new jobs there as well, where people are more willing to buy local foods now. It can open up so many more positions in culinary. Um, so I think this is also incredibly important. The money spent stays within the local economy. And that is a big part of the economic factor for this because so much that people go and get fast food or something or go into a supermarket, for example, like Costco is very popular in Honolulu, Hawaii. And when you do these things, and you're not buying local, um, the money goes out of Hawaii. And but these corporations do not have any interest in serving Hawaii. And while buying local keeps the money within the Hawaiian economy, strengthening the economy, strengthening jobs, strengthening people who local farmers and the people around socially, economically. It just helps the Hawaiian and Honolulu economy, in particularly, would help it so much more and help people struggle less and become less food insecure if people were willing to get most of the produce through local farming. It would support small businesses, so these are could be like more vendors we have, introducing people to vendors, introducing people to who are supporting the community through small businesses. It would have a reduced resilience on imports, and I mentioned this a little bit with Costco, but people would be less willing to, hopefully after this event, to shop at places like Costco, to shop at places. There's obviously some things you need from Costco that can only be imported to Hawaii. There's so many things like toothpaste, toilet paper, towels, bed sheets. These things aren't made in Hawaii, but what is made in Hawaii is food. And if we shop locally, we can reduce our impact on resilience on importing food, and which is incredibly expensive in Hawaii, and increase our reliance on local farming, which would be so much cheaper. Some of the reasons imported food is so expensive in Hawaii is because while in transport, it is really expensive. So taking it on cargo ships or by plane, for example, foods to Hawaii costs a lot, and but it does not cost anything or hardly anything to transport food, well, anything in comparable comparing to traveling over the Pacific Ocean to just transporting food between local farms to local food markets. It might not cost anything at all. Like local farmers are just putting it in their cars and then driving to their food market. Um, so this keeps prices low and will help people in the area be able to um, um, with this economically. Um, and also more economic stability by promoting farm products. And this kind of just wraps up everything, but by promoting. I also want to mention or farm products year round. I want to mention that as well because I feel like there can be an educational aspect to this of, well, different foods are grown at different times in Hawaii, and these are the types of foods that are really good in the spring, and these are the types of foods that are really good in the summer, and these are types of food that are really good in November and December, and autumn. So I think by educating people that by that, it can help people purchase farm products year round instead of just only buying um, mangoes, for example, when they're most ripe, um, or pineapples, which I think is it would be very good for the economy as well, because it would provide more stability. So these are some of the economic factors I listed. Let's talk about challenges and risks. So I thought of a few different risks with this event. Also challenges as well. I think the very first risk is weather. And I think that's just a risk for any kind of venue you hold, any kind of like food tour, um, any kind of major event, marketing campaign event. You're gonna have challenges and risks with weather because you can always get rained out. Hawaii, for particular, especially Honolulu, the island of Oahu, and more particular, does have very sporadic weather. Um, but usually it is very predictable. Unlike in Kentucky, where we just have one day where it's like 20 degrees and one day where it's 60 degrees. I did a little bit of research on weather in Hawaii, and most likely, if it's going to rain for 3 days. If it's going to be windy, it's going to be windy for at least 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 days. If it's going to be really sunny, it might be sunny all week. So it might be easy as long as we know beforehand, at least a week before, what is the pressure going to be like? Is it going to be a low pressure system? Is it going to be a high pressure system? And we want a high pressure system to provide us the best weather possible. Also, over tourism. This is a big, big challenge because we want people to come, but we also do not want to have too many people come. We want locals to come in particular, but we also want people who are just there to experience the Hawaiian culture as well. So I think by having a limit to reduce over tourism, um, a limit of how many people can come into the event, maybe even by implementing a reservation system. Um, so the first 1,000 people to sign up can get in, but um, that are not from the Hawaiian Islands, not from Oahu or Honolulu. Um, but any local residents can come in as well. I think this could be a good cap to prevent over tourism, which is definitely a challenge to overcome. I think that is also a solution to that as well. I think cultural sensitivity is really important because you do not want to misrepresent any of the Hawaiian culture because this can cause serious backlash or um, and also just would not be good. This is an event to promote cultural education, and we want to make sure that we're very sensitive and make sure that we do not have any kind of misrepresentation of Hawaiian culture throughout the event. Um, Seasonal ingredient availability. I think this is also a challenge because, like I said in the previous slide, some foods grow better in different seasons than others, and this can make different types of menus rotate throughout the year, and this can have different harvest cycles. So being aware of this and timing this event during the correct time of the most abundant, maybe in the summer to spring, would be maybe a challenge, but it's just something to be aware about as well. Transportation could definitely be a risk because traffic, of course, it's always a problem. A lot of people coming to this, you're going to have a lot of increased traffic, and you want to make sure that um, you time things correctly. You want to make sure it's long enough. It's not just in a short window period, but it's long enough. And you want to make sure you provide shuttles as well because that can be definitely a challenge. But a risk as well is just you don't want to you want to time it correctly so that um, You don't want to probably do it at rush hour where so many people are going to be on the roads. And also organization, I think, can be definitely like a challenge and risk because you want to make sure this is organized correctly. You want to make sure you um, have the correct people working with you to make this amazing. So let's talk about sustainability strategies. So I listed four here: environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, social sustainability, and cultural sustainability. I think for environmental sustainability, um, um, a strategy I think we could implement is water stations. So reduce on plastic bottles, allow people to have cups of water throughout, because water really is just it should be a universal right, and people it may be hot on that day might need water. So having water stations throughout the event, compostable materials like plates, compostable straws, compostable forks, things like that. Um, we could also try to reduce our carbon impact with shuttles, um, maybe having certain routes or pickup areas instead of just traveling in very long areas could help the environment. Um, uh, I would say, especially with like the straws and stuff, definitely not having any type of like plastic waste. I know it can be really challenging, but it could be something that they can work on or try to get as close to as they can. And then the next one would be economic stability, and this would be revenue. And so you'd have a lot of revenue invested into these local farms with people shopping a bit more frequently. You'd be able to have partnerships with the vendors, and also um, time the event during a time where you can have the least amount of waste. You want to have the least amount of waste in this to promote economic stability throughout the events. Cultural sustainability or social, sorry, excuse me, social sustainability. I think this we could do this by giving like people that we do have working for us, like photographers, for example, giving them a good pay, um, having lots of parking, um, and also um, limiting the people who can come in, just like I mentioned earlier, so it's not overcrowded. And people can really don't feel like they're walking shoulder to shoulder. And also cultural sustainability, which could be possibly guides who are locals and can share stories. Um, it can also be working with things like the HGA, for example, the Hawaiian Tourism Authority, to have some of their representatives come out and give speeches or training to people who are working at this event, and also protecting um, people from misrepresentation. We want to make sure that we represent the culture authentically and be able to present these different types of foods correctly with the correct knowledge and traditions passed down. So evidence and visual aids. So put this into the sources to use and visual aids. So for sources, I might again cite the HTA, Hawaiian Tourism Authority. It would be a really good source to use. Uh, the Ulu Cooperative Moani Educational Reports. I did a little bit of research on this, and this could be a great source as well. I did a little bit of a paper on the Hawaiian Food and Wine Festival, and I think having people who are working in that help in our event as well, and also have chefs that, who provide wine and provide food in the Hawaiian Food and Wine Festival come out to this as well. Could be a great thing. Providing magazine and new articles on the farm to table movement, because it definitely is a movement in Hawaii, and this is what we want to spread. Providing those for people to see and realize that the movement is so big, and having articles on Hawaiian food insecurity as well could be a great thing to kind of put people in the right perspective of how local agriculture can really help people and benefit all of Honolulu and Hawaii, um, and particularly Oahu. And I'm going to pause this here because I think I'm going to have to um, restart this one more time. Okay, and let's start back where we left off. So I want to talk about visual aids as well. So some visual aids that we can provide would be like a map of Oahu, particularly Honolulu, with local farms and also just like tour routes that people also can go on that are additional from this event. Photos of local farms, farmer markets, dishes, local foods, all of these things would be really great to provide. Infographics and statistics to kind of prove our points of like, this is why it's helping economy, this is why it's helping our culture, this is why this is such a great thing to do. And just providing that kind of information to kind of back up all of our claims. Also, Instagram posts, which would be a really great visual. We could throw up something that like highlights these certain things, also promotes it. It'd be good for all sorts of great things. Many people use Instagram nowadays, so Instagram posts could be a great visual aid as well. And also creating a great logo. I think a good logo would be really go far and kind of help in our visual aid and our visual representation of our event and marketing campaign. And so that is all. Thank you. I really liked doing this presentation. It was very fun. I'm glad I could combine all of the different types of resources I've been able to learn about throughout the semester, and I hope you enjoyed.